I have just finished Ryse, Son of Rome for the first time, my first ever playthrough, and yes, I know this game launched in 2013, but I just wanted to play this game because it's been on my backlog for a long time, and I am just shocked that it got such a low score, and I just kind of want to take a deep dive and look at this game as find out as to why it got such a low score, because I just don't think it deserves that. Welcome to the Major Ben channel though, guys. I hope you guys are having an awesome day as always. Let's get on with the video. Please like and subscribe as well. It would really help me out. So this game actually currently is sitting at a 60 Metacritic and a 61 on PC. This was an Xbox exclusive at launch, and just to be honest, was a graphical showcase for this console. It really showed what the console was capable of, despite it being less powerful than the PlayStation. This was Xbox's game to show, look how good this graphics is. Now, the gameplay you're seeing in the background is obviously 4K ultra settings, 60 frames, well above 60 frames per second I was playing it at on my 3080, but that's not the point. It's still, this game holds up so well, even in today's standards on PC. I mean, look at it. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. So, yes, it did get a 60 Metacritic. Now, my main complaint and the main reason that this game did not get as high a rating as it probably should have done is just the repetitive gameplay. That part at the start of the game where you are literally just learning the combat, you're working out the timing of the moves, you've literally got, the X button is a small attack and the Y is kind of like to break heavy attacks, and then you can hold those buttons down slightly longer to do a heavier attack of the normal one, and then an even heavier one of the breaking stance, which is the Y. And then you've obviously got your roll button and you've got your deflect button, which is A and then B to roll. So that's the combat in the game, and you use that same combat throughout the entire game. Now, the reason it doesn't bother me, as it appears to be bothering other people on the Reddit threads and stuff for why the game is so lowly reviewed, it didn't bother me as much because the game is only 6 hours long anyway. If you could probably speed through it a little bit faster if you really wanted to just rush through it, I kind of explored as well, and it's only about 6 hours long. So this combat didn't really bother me too much. It was a little bit repetitive towards the end of the game, but I kind of still felt like I wanted more of this game. I wanted more of a story, but I just don't think it deserves 60. I personally think it should be somewhere in the 75s or something like that, or maybe 70. Just 60 seems a little bit rough. That's kind of like a D, in my opinion, a D grading on like a school homework or whatever. I just think it should be getting more than that. The other thing that I just felt needed a bit more work was, at the time at least for this game, was just the way you upgraded your skills. It really wasn't clear what you were doing there, and that just didn't feel too great in my opinion. Its skill trees are much better, in my personal opinion, than just these little card things that you had on screen. It just wasn't the most intuitive, but to be honest, I just think this game should be higher rated. I mean, look at what you're seeing on screen. The combat, although repetitive, is extremely solid. It works really well. There's no misclicks or button, problems. Everything when you get hit is your fault. You could always do better. The fights were pretty cool. My biggest complaint though is the boss fights. They are extremely repetitive. There's a clip I'm going to show you behind the thing right now where it literally is the same move time and time again from one of these bosses towards the end of the game. And it's just something that just shouldn't happen. That should have been fixed. That should have been worked on so they have some more variation of their moves and it's kind of randomized rather than just the same thing being repeated over and over again. It just shouldn't be like that in my opinion. It just seems silly that the boss, the hardest enemy of the game, is the same thing. The enemy types, there wasn't enough variation. The part I did like on variation though was the fact that when you go to the kind of swampy area and there's these much bigger, more dangerous enemies, those are slightly different, but then you go back and it's kind of the main enemies again. But again, it's true to life in terms of the Romans and the Brits, and how they were fighting. I kind of liked that you're fighting the same kind of people. The siege battles I thought were really cool. How you could command your archers. I think they did need a bit more of that though. You could command your archers to go to this position on the left, for example. Then you can have your infantry on the right. I thought that was cool, but I just think it needed a little bit more of that, a little bit more like group and war scale combat with these massive armies would be really cool. You can like command stuff while you're like, just running on top of the castle and you're stopping people coming up the ladders and stuff, which you do in the game. Just a bit more combat would be really cool. But again, bear in mind, we are talking about a 2013 title. This is a 2013 title. This isn't anything that's just come out. So I just wanted to give my opinions on this because I find it low. I find it like it's just a little bit too low of a rating in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. This game, it should be played. You guys need to go and try this game. As I said, it's 6 hours long. I wanted to have something to kind of get me through my gap before I'm waiting for the next Jedi game. I do think, though, a common thing here is that a lot of the Xbox titles, much like Titanfall, Quantum Break, and Recall, I think they're all Xbox titles, but Titanfall definitely was a launch one. And I just think they tend to get overlooked for the fact that they're not on PlayStation. And I think they tend to get review bombed a little bit too much. I mean, this was a perfectly good story-based game with a good combat system. Yes, it was repetitive, but it still was an extremely fun game. I had a great time with it, even in 2023. Like, it's still a game that I enjoyed. I thought it was a cool story. You kind of a vengeful story, and I just thought it was really cool. Like, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but please do go out and play it. I think a lot of this stuff is because it was just hated because it was on an Xbox exclusive. And I do think people, are happy with those kind of titles, unfortunately. But to be honest, being able to pick it up now at I think I got it for £3 here in the UK, which is insane. It's just worth it for that price, especially at the moment. Like, you'll be able to get this cheap, whatever platform, PC or Xbox you're looking for it, you'll be able to get it cheap. And at the end of the day, it's a 6 hour or 6.5 plus hour story, depending on how much exploration you want to do. There's a decent number of collectibles that you can go and find as well. There's plenty of content in this game. So at the end of the day, though, the only thing is it's not very replayable. You're probably, as much as I want more of the game, I think it could have been a little longer. It's just not, the replay value is not there. There's not enough to go back and think, right, I'm going to go and do this now, or go and do that now. There's not enough there for that. But definitely, maybe in the future, I'll go back and replay it and just have another go through it, and we'll revisit it again in another few years, because I think it would be interesting to do another re-review in another 10 years to see how it stacks up against games then, because in my opinion, it's holding its own pretty well for this old of a title. But again, please go and play it, guys. I think it's something you should just check out, especially if you're on Xbox or PC, obviously. Bump those graphics up on PC to the max, and you'll have yourself a pretty decent looking title. But that's it for today's video. Please leave a like, please subscribe if you have enjoyed this one, and I will see you in future ones. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.